You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth, the show that reveals facts, truth, research, and statistics and never messes around. We lay down the entire truth about everything regarding your Detroit and Michigan sports teams, no matter if it's good or bad. No junk, no entertainment, no homerism, no coddling, no pop culture, no opinions, no shilling, and no fluff. Head over to our website at MichiganSportsTruth.com, follow us on Twitter at Michigan_Truth, and like our Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth. The hosts of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast do not take any suggestions or criticism from any member of its audience on how it should be run. It is up to the host to decide what they want to cover. They also do not intend to be any amount of popular in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Additionally, the views of the audience, right or wrong, do not reflect the actual truth revealed on this program.
And welcome to the post-game edition of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes for Monday, May 14th, 2018, as the Tigers get some very contributory offense from one Niko Goodrow, an outfielder, one of their outfielders, who knocks in 5 and all on 2 home runs, a 2-run home run in the 4th inning, and then a 3-run home run, insurance-wise, in the 8th inning. And the final score is 6-3. Niko Goodrow, at least say the least, had a night. I'll tell you what. Niko Goodrow. He's a utility outfielder. He's got 4 home runs on the season. Sabermetrics are not updated yet, but the standings are, as the Tigers now climb to within 2 games back of the 20-20 Cleveland Indians in the American League Comedy Central Division standings. The Tigers are 18-22. And all those slappies at Comerica Park and rooting for, and at home and anywhere else, rooting for this team to win and win the AL Central Division in the future later this year, come October, and not care about their records, it's just going to give me a headache. So take that crap out of here with you. Unless you want to care. We have to care on this podcast. This is and we're talking about a society that doesn't. Just for a brief, short period. So, this is, really, there's no other explanation to put it. That said, looking at the sabermetrics going into or after tonight, if it's updated, it's still not updated. So going into tonight, Goodrow only had 2 home runs. He now has 4 in a month and a half. Going into tonight's game, he has a runs better than average ratio of -2, a wins above average of negative 0.2, a WAR of 0.1 above 0, that's positive. An offensive WAR, wins above replacement, 0.4, a defensive WAR of negative 0.4, 4 runs above replacement. It's amazing how sabermetrics work. And since he's the player of the game tonight, which I almost never do on my podcast, because considering how bad or mediocre each team in Detroit is professional wise, Niko Goodrow is our player of the game, and he deserves a look at his sabermetrics. Yeah, the restore the roar or growl. Well, yeah, that's just another uncaring positivity thing to say. And that's something any fanboy would say. Getting back to sabermetrics here. Let me see. Niko Goodrow, a fielding percentage of .971, a total zone total fielding runs above average per 1,200 innings ratio of -25. BIS defensive runs saved above average per 1,200 innings ratio is -23. A range factor per 9 innings ratio of 4.10. A range factor per game, including extra innings, of 2.62. Let me see here. I'm being a little distracted here by the notifications on Facebook. This is while I'm doing this podcast here. Now for the highest and lowest sabermetrics. First off, defensively, because defense is the name of the game. Grayson Greiner, 3 games played at the age of 25. A run total per year ratio, his run total per year ratio is -45. His defensive run save per year ratio is -42. Range factor per 9 innings, 7.27. A range factor per game, including extra innings, double goose egg, 7.00. Miguel Cabrera, who's on the 10-day disabled list, 8.59 range factor per 9 innings, 6.76 range factor per game, including extras. John Hicks, 8.84 range factor per 9, 8.63 per game, including extras. Yikes. Let me see here. We're talking about, we're focusing on team fielding metrics here. Trying to find the lowest. Blaine Hardy is at 0. Lewis Coleman is at 0. Matt Boyd, 1.50 range factor per 9. 1.00 range factor per game including extras. Francisco Liriano, 0.89 per 9. 0.57 per game including extras. Now look at the WAR, offensive and defensive WAR. The highest would go to the highest WAR would go to Heimer Candelario at 1.5. His runs above replacement is 14. His offensive runs above replacement is 12. Offensive WAR is 1.2. Defensive WAR is 0.3, which is not bad. Nick Castellanos has the highest offensive WAR of 1.3. His defensive WAR, however, is negative 0.5. And that's the lowest on this 25-man roster. And Castellanos' defensive ethics, work ethic, is still pretty low, even after switching from third base to right field. His right field defensive WAR is 0.5 below 0, negative 0.5. He's still not developing defensively in either third base or right field, in any position. Now look at the win-loss percentages with average. With an average team. This is the win-loss of an otherwise average team in only the games this player played in. For example, for a pitcher, this would only consider the games the pitcher threw in and ignoring games they did not play in. Those sabermetrics are on baseball-reference.com, the Baseball Reference website. A win-loss percentage with an average team. The highest that I'm looking at it goes to Pete Kosmetz at .694. A 694 win-loss percentage average team ratio. A win-loss average team percentage of 694. The lowest, trying to look at it here, 48.7, 473, 473, 477, 446 goes to Mikey Matuk. 12 games played, especially since he was called up. And yeah, that appears to be the lowest win-loss average team percentage on the team. But all that stuff can be found on baseballreference.com. But the pitchers, though, I need to get to as well. The pitching WAR, the highest WAR in pitching on the Tigers team, on the Tigers 25-man roster, goes to Matt Boyd at 1.3. His runs better than replacement level ratio is 14. Yikes. Only 2 ahead of Francisco Liriano at 12. He checks in with a 1.1 WAR above 0, does Liriano. That still proves that he's still got plenty left in the tank. To be honest with you, the lowest WAR 0.1, 0.2. It's got to be a tie of negative 0.2 between Daniel Stumpf and Chad Bell, who was actually designated for assignment. So subtract him from there. If whether he clears waivers, or gets claimed off waivers or released, whichever. The point is that leaves Daniel Stumpf on the Tigers' 25-man roster with the lowest pitching WAR right now of negative 0.2. The lowest runs above replacement average ratio would be negative 2 to Chad Bell. Again, he was DFA'd. So it's got to be a three-way tie at negative 1 between Johnny Barbado and the 40-man roster. Actually, so Artie Lewicki at the 40-man. So that leaves Daniel Stumpf the lone lowest runs above replacement ratio of negative 1. So that's all you need to know. On the air, you can view all the rest on baseball-reference.com. Look up the Tigers. And just browse away. See what that tells. See what those sabermetrics tell you. You can look up each sabermetric and know what it is, etc. All that, it's all there. So there's no other news to report in regarding our teams. So that is all the truth that I need to spill out for tonight. Now it's time for Louis Tenore's National Sports Report. Louis, take it away.
You got it. All right, here we go, folks. We'll start in the diamond first. As we mentioned, the Tigers doubled up on the Indians 6-3. Bears got the win and Ariseco got the loss. In the bottom of the sixth, if you like pitchers' duels, then we got a game for you. It's 0-0 between the Mariners and the Twins with 1 out and a runner on first. LeBlanc is pitching and Dozier is batting. If you want some more offense, boy, this is a snooze fest, all right. In the bottom of the fourth, the Brewers are leading the D-backs 2-0. Runners on first and third. Guerrero is pitching and Sosa Jr. is at bat. We got some finals here. The Braves play an afternoon game against the Cubs and hold on to a 6-5 victory. Teheran got the win, Quintana got the loss, and Inter got the save. Rays edged the Royals 2-1. Yarborough got the win. Sokolin got the loss, and Cologne got the save. Athletics hold off the Red Sox 6-5. Good. Manny got the win, Porcello got the loss, and Heron got the save. Got some late games going on, as the Astros and Angels are tied at 1 apiece in the bottom of the third. No one on, no one out. McCullers Jr. is pitching, and Calhoun is at bat. Top of the third, it's scoreless between the Rockies and the Padres, but there's runners on first and second and 1 out. Lucas C. is pitching, and Gervais is at bat. Bottom two, the Reds and the Giants are tied at 1, 2 out, nobody on. Romano is pitching, and Blanco is at bat. All right, so we've taken care of that now. So let's take care of the standings. And they go like this. Leading off in the American League East as we usually do, the Yankees are in front at 28-12, thanks to the Red Sox losing, which is now 28-13, a half game back. Blue Jays are 7.5 back at 21-20. 10.5 back are the Rays at 17-22, and the Orioles down the basement again at 13-28, 15.5 back. 15.5 back in the middle of May. In the Comedy Central, known as the AL Central, Indians are the only decent team on here at 20-20. Have a one-game lead over the Twins at 17-19. The Tigers are 2 back at 18-22. The Royals are 13-28 at 7.5 back, and the White Sox are 8.5 back at 10-27. Man, this is ugly. All right, in the West, Astros 26-16 have a one-game lead over the Angels at 24-16. Mariners 22-17, 2.5 back. Athletics 20-21, 5.5 back, and the Rangers are 10 back at 16-26. And they haven't done jack since 2011. In the National League, the Braves, the surprise team of the year, 25-15, have a game-and-a-half lead over the Phillies at 23-16. The Nationals are 2 back at 24-18. They play a 3-game series against the Yankees starting tomorrow. Mets 19-18, 4.5 back, and the Marlins. Mets are 19-18, 4.5 back, and the Marlins are 14-26, 11 back. In the Central, Brewers 24-17, and of course this is the tight division here. A half-game lead over the Cardinals at 22-16. Also a half game over the Pirates, 23-17. A game and a half over the Cubs at 21-17. And the Reds, 14-27, 10 back, even though they've won 4 straight. Big deal. In the West, D-backs, 24-16, 2.5 over the Rockies at 22-19. Giants are 20-21, 4.5 back. Dodgers 16-24, 8 back, and the Padres are 9 back at 16-26. All right, so let's check tomorrow's schedule, as we'll have a full slate of games coming up. So we go this way. Leading off for your May 15th, it starts like this. All games are there is one afternoon game. It's the Rockies versus the Padres at 3:40. Your 7:05 games are the Yankees taking on the Nationals, the Phillies taking on the Orioles, the White Sox taking on the Pirates. 7:10 games, Indians versus the Tigers. Blue Jays take on the Mets. Athletics take on the Red Sox. The Dodgers take on the Marlins. 7:35, Cubs take on the Braves. 8:10, Cardinals take on the Twins. 8:15, Rays take on the Royals. 9:40, the Brewers take on the D-backs. And your late games, 10:07, the Astros take on the Angels. The Rangers take on the Mariners. And the Reds take on the Giants at 10:15. Texas Seattle is 10:10. Astros and Angels are 10:07. Just want to clear that up. All right, so now we'll go on from the diamond to the ice, where a game was just ended. That is the second here. Just want to make sure. All right, as the Golden Knights beat the Jets 3-1, the series is now tied at 1 game apiece. I knew it wasn't going to be a sweep on that. I mean, really? And game 3, of course, now we switch sides, of course. Tomorrow, we have just 1 game, and that will be the Lightning taking on the Capitals in Washington, with Washington now up 2-0 in the series. And I'll have an analysis on that after I take care of a few other things like in the NBA. Right now in the NBA, the Warriors lead the Rockets 90-85. Harden went down with an injury in the first quarter, and it looked pretty serious, but I think it's been taken care of. Oh, boy. Kevin Durant right now has 30 points, 1 rebound, and 1 block. Harden's back in the game, 32 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. Well, if you got Harden in the game, you know it's going to be a battle. And this is game one of this series, and this one looks to be a 7-game series, no questions asked. Tomorrow night, the Cavaliers will take on the Celtics in game 2. Boston surprisingly leads the series 1 game to nothing. The players to watch will be LeBron James and Al Horford. It should have been a better game yesterday than what anticipated, because it was a laugher. It was a laugher in the wrong direction. I did not see that coming. All right, so now let's get to the news items of the day. This one involving, first up, with baseball. Just found out about a little over an hour ago. Angels reliever Kenyon Middleton had an MRI on his right elbow and was diagnosed with collateral ligament damage, the team announced today. Middleton said that he will seek a second opinion, according to the team. He had been placed on the 10-day disabled list. Right-handed pitcher Felix Pena from AAA Salt Lake was recalled to take his place. Middleton was removed in the 8th inning in a game versus the Twins. He said it was due to elbow discomfort with a 1-1 count on Edwin Rosario. To make matters worse, he just returned from the disabled list on Thursday after being sidelined with inflammation in his elbow. So this guy can't catch a break. Sorry to hear that, still. All right, now for the disturbing story of the day. Former Arizona Wildcats track and field coach Craig Carter was sentenced to 5 years in prison for assault on a former athlete with a box cutter. Carter was convicted back in March of aggravated assault with a dangerous weapon for his April 2015 attack on a former discus thrower and shot putter, Ballet Gibson. Carter spoke through tears today as he told Fremont County, Arizona Superior Court judge said that he was sorry and hopes that in time that Gibson will forgive him. Well, Gibson doesn't seem to be all that forgiving now, as Gibson testified at the hearing, saying that his world has been shattered because I put my trust in Craig and the university. Gibson said, I wish I did not have to think about this at all because on the inside it just hurts too much no matter how hard I try to escape it. So he is really feeling the effects of this. And Justin Gibson said that when he was at the hearing. Just awful. I mean, you trust these people with your kids' college career, and this is how you treat them. It's just not right. Okay, NFL defensive back D'Angelo Hall has announced his retirement from the NFL after 14 seasons with the league. He said that while speaking at a golf tournament today, Hall is still undecided what he wants to do with his post-football career. He is deciding between getting a job in the front office or being an analyst. He played 10 seasons with the Redskins and is a 3-time Pro Bowler. Played at the cornerback position. Then for the final 2 years of his career, he played at safety. Hall sums up his career as, well, average. Not great. On pace to be really good until 4 years ago. Hall said he had visions of a gold jacket, but the injuries over the past few seasons have taken its toll on him. So continuing to play was definitely not an option. But D'Angelo said, who said I can't get another way? That's my goal. I still want the gold jacket, whether I get one as an executive or as a coach. I'm going to get that gold jacket. Hall had missed 31 of 48 games because of injuries between 2014 and 2016. He opened up the 2017 season on the physically unable to perform list. Stemming from a torn ACL injury in week 3 of the 2016 season, he managed to return in week 9 and started a victory against the Seahawks, but only played in one snap in the last 6 games. He was declared a healthy inactive 3 times. Healthy inactive. It's not what they call an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm healthy but inactive, yeah. That's an oxymoron, people.
Yeah.
Mike Budenholzer has now become the centerpiece of the Raptors and Bucks coaching searches, and the two teams will spend the coming days competing for him. That according to ESPN. The Raptors began the talks this weekend, and the conversations were continuing today, according to league sources. The Bucks considered Budenholzer their front runner after the opening round of interviews, and are working to re-engage him in talks that will include ownership. That according to league sources. He won Coach of the Year in 2015-2016 season and has shown interest in examining both job opportunities. Yeah, well, good luck with that one, bub. All right. Well, as I mentioned now, the Tampa Bay Lightning are now in a hole of 2-0, and here's more on that. If the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to come back from this 2-0 deficit, they're going to have to put more speed in the game. Coach John Cooper said last night that their style of play was slow. He said, "We did not reach 113 points in the regular season and like this and get past the first 2 rounds playing like this. These first 2 games are the way we played," Coach Cooper said, but by no means am I saying it is not all us. Not them. They got a really good team, and they are feeling it. They're feeling it. Playing with confidence right now is a little surprising that we are not, because we had confidence coming into New Jersey and going into the series against the Boston Bruins. But right now, we are not making the plays that we need to make. Game 3, we played in Washington, and then at Game 4. I was not looking at this as a 4-game sweep, but now I think that might happen, because I think with the Capitals going home, and up 2 games to nothing, I think they have this on their side. And as I said before, this I think is Ovechkin's year. Of course, I could be wrong, but then again. Switching to another side of hockey, in the World Championships, Patrick Kane, who might not be playing for a Stanley Cup, is doing very well in the World Hockey Championships, as he scored a pair of goals in Friday's 13-1 dumping over South Korea in the World Championships, giving the U.S. their 5th straight win. So, hey, you don't get a Stanley Cup, but hey, you might get a medal. So, that's good. At least he's doing something right. All right. Mark Reynolds made his debut for the Nationals last night, going 3 for 4 with 2 home runs in the Nationals' victory over the D-backs, a team where he had first started his career back in 2007. Boy, I feel old. Reynolds was in extended spring training just a few days ago and said it felt great to be back under lights in a big league uniform. Last season, he hit 30 home runs and drove in 97 runs. Reynolds figured that there would be a few teams interested in this slugger with a power bat and the ability to play at first, second, and third, and even in the outfield. However, despite being 11th in active career home runs, Reynolds was among many of the free agents who had to take what he was able to get. Last month, he signed a minor league deal with the Nationals and reported to AAA Syracuse. Reynolds said, "It was tough waiting." He said, "I had a lot of minor league offers, and I felt it was worth more than that. So I was content with being at home, being a dad, coaching my kids, and playing some golf. Then the Nationals called, and I figured, what the hell? It's either now or never. After all, I am 34 years old now. So I went and gave it one more shot, and things worked out in the end. Reynolds returned this weekend when first baseman Ryan Zimmerman went on the DL with the right oblique strain. Reynolds hit a home run in the 6th off of Zach Bradley to help him seal the victory. Yeah, 34, you're not exactly a rookie anymore, and you're in the peak of your career or you're just passing the twilight of your career, give or take. And yesterday, as I mentioned, with the Capitals win, they struck the Lightning 6-2, and take that 6-2 lead in the series. 6-2. And Webb Simpson won the Players' Championship by 4 strokes, but Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth were very impressive. They were hanging in there until the end, but it just wasn't going to be enough to catch them. All right. Oh yeah, I also mentioned yesterday that Coach Chuck Knox passed away at the age of 86 from dementia. So another legend has passed away. Right now, the Warriors are leading the Rockets now 102-93. Just about 4 minutes to go in the 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. And Harden is back in the game. But when he went down, oh boy, that looks ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Really. I mean, for those of you who saw the play, I think almost went into shock like I did. But he's okay now. All right, so we'll recap baseball scores.
Nobody wants to get injured.
No, and it wasn't intentional either.
No,
not at all. No.
It could have been avoided though. Could have.
Well, sure, I know, but
yep.
Yeah. All right, back to the scores here. It is still a scoreless draw between the Mariners and the Twins at zip in the bottom of the 7th, but there is a runner on third with 2 out. Pazos is pitching, and Rosario is at bat. Nothing in the 7th. In the bottom of the 5th, the Brewers and D-backs are tied at 2. No one on, no one out. Gloria is pitching, and Perella is at bat. Corbin just was out. Astros and Angels tied at 1 in the bottom of the 4th with a runner on first and 1 out. McCullers is still in, and Big Al, Albert Pujols, is now at bat. This should be good. Bottom 3, Rockies and Padres tied at 1, 2 out, 2 on. Second and third. Anderson's pitching, and Maria is at bat. 3. Giants now have a 4-1 lead over the Reds with runner on first and out. Romero is pitching, and Longoria is at bat. I actually prefer even Longoria. And all the rest are now final. And that takes care of my notes for the evening, so I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. So what we've learned tonight is that other than Heimer Candelario's sabermetrics, which are very high, the rest of the Tigers team sabermetrics in general are very damn low, and even including Niko Goodrow's, although he had a night launching two big home runs, knocking in 5 total in complete result. The Tigers are still. This is an additional example of a rebuilding year. Very low sabermetrics. Even though Heimer Candelario has very damn high sabermetrics on his own. So, on that note, that takes care of the post-game edition for Monday, May 4th, 2018. We'll be back after tomorrow. We'll be back on the air after tomorrow night's game, sometime around 10:30. Again, just like tonight. So, for Louis Tenore, I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Follow the Michigan Sports Truth on Twitter at Michigan_Truth. And like its Facebook page, the Michigan Sports Truth. Spread the word. Share it. Retweet it. Everywhere. And on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Good night, folks.
The hosts of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast do not take any suggestions or criticism from any member of its audience on how it should be run. It is up to the host to decide what they want to cover. They also do not intend to be any amount of popular in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Additionally, the views of the audience, right or wrong, do not reflect the actual truth revealed on this program.
Mission complete.